Hello, welcome back to another episode of I Need to Water This Plant. Welcome back to another episode of Clarence Chronicles. I will water this plant. Please don't come after me. I'm trying over here. Okay. I'm not the best with plants. I try really hard. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Clarence Chronicles, where we talk about the children's book that I'm illustrating and writing, or I already wrote and illustrated. Okay. I'm taking you through that journey, and it's been teaching me and us, based off of your comments, about the creative process, about using your imagination, about unleashing your own ideas, finding your style within something to create something. Create and get your stuff in your brain onto paper. So it's been a really cool experience, I think. I don't just speak for myself either. The comments have been very, very cool to read from you guys. Cool and insightful and encouraging. So thank you, everyone, for coming along with me on this wild ride of filming the process of me writing and painting and illustrating a children's book. So anyway, if you are new here and this is your first video, hi, hello, welcome. I have spent the last 5 years on this channel. I've had my art business for 13 years. I have 4 best-selling watercolor how-to step-by-step books called Everyday Watercolor. And I have hundreds and hundreds of videos on this channel that teach you all the essential watercolor thingy-dingies. So you may have found me through the Complete Beginner's Guide to Watercolor, or maybe you found me because you've been following me on social media, or you found my book in your local library, or whatever. However you got here, I am very grateful for you. And something that, I guess I'm sitting now. Is this okay? Something that I have learned in the 13 years that I've been in business is about the word flexibility. I myself, one second, I'm just gonna lower you. I started my business 13 years ago as a wedding calligrapher. I was doing pointed pen calligraphy, trying to hide things like these lights that I still don't know how to light myself. But you know what? We're just gonna ignore that. And I think I'm slightly tilted. But I can't figure out this. It just won't tilt to straight. So also my husband is texting me a lot, so I'm just going to go check on that really quick. 1 second. Play Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. Okay. All good. Anyway, I can't figure out how to level this thing without it going boop or boop. So apologies. I can't figure out the lighting. However, why am I talking? What was I going to talk about right before that, though? I knew I was going to forget if I allowed myself to go down that tangent. Oh, I've been in business for 13 years, and I have needed to learn how to be flexible. And I started out as a pointed pen calligraphy person for weddings, addressing envelopes, doing place cards, you name it, mostly for events and weddings. And I built a pretty successful wedding business. I was able to, within a year of starting that business, I started designing wedding invitations and was eventually working with pretty high-end wedding planners, event planners, and things like that. I've done invitations for celebrities before, and so I was able to build this business that was like sustainable and making money. And it was all on accident. And then within 5 years of doing that, I decided I no longer felt like I was in my early 20s. And so when you're in your early 20s or even 30s, even some people don't even find it within their entire lifetimes. But there's this like process of self-discovery in your 20s that you're not aware is even happening, but you are just kind of like, what job makes the most sense with my degree, or like what door is open to me right now? And so I went from working at restaurants and bars and waiting tables and all of that kind of stuff to working in an office job that was sucking the life out of my soul, because I'm extremely type B, extremely creative, and just like sitting in a cubicle all day under fluorescent lighting was just not it for me. At a financial planning office. And so I birthed my business on Instagram, essentially. It started with friends and then friends of friends, and then word started spreading because work was getting published on wedding blogs and all this stuff. So anyway, I kind of just fell into this wedding calligraphy, invitation design business, and also art business totally by accident. I was just posting my work on Instagram back in 2012 when influencer wasn't even a word that was created yet. And just posting my art because it was something that was healing, and it was like helping bring some sort of like peace. And it felt like a part of me. It felt like I was able to like do something for myself. And I became obsessed with watercolor back in 2012. And that's when I started learning watercolor, teaching myself through various things on YouTube, stuff like that. And just found myself really obsessed with watercolor and wanting to share my work with people on my social media, which was basically my family and friends when I started. And then I, threw some hashtags on there because, people said to use hashtags or whatever. And here we are today, basically. Ooh, my tummy's growling. I guess it's lunchtime. I do need to eat lunch. I do need to eat lunch before I go to my workout, which is in like an hour. So you don't need to know that information. Talking to myself. So anyway, over the last 13 years, I've gone from being a wedding calligrapher, pointed pen calligraphy, to figuring out design programs so that I could start earning more money, because the pointed pen calligraphy jobs were not going to pay my rent in Southern California. So I started learning Photoshop and Illustrator and design programs, and figuring that stuff out so that I could, like I said, start earning more money and, helping pay for our rent in Southern California. And, but then 5 years into that, I started realizing, I don't know if doing wedding papery is really what lights me up either. And so I shifted that. I sold the business to a friend of mine, and she still runs it today. It's still under the same name, which is Mon Voix, which is two French words that John typed into Google Translate something, and it popped out that. And so we used it, and it doesn't make any sense in French, but to the American ear, it sounds French because it is French. So anyway, she still runs that business and still does wedding calligraphy and invitations. And I now mostly teach, have courses and books, and this YouTube channel. So for the last 5 years, I've been doing how-to step-by-step watercolor tutorials on my YouTube. And we are now in another pivot, because I find myself, there's two things, or maybe there's more, we'll see as I continue talking. There's two reasons why this pivot is happening, or this like shift is happening on my channel. Number one, I've already done it. The amount of watercolor tutorials that I have on my channel, you can find the answer that you are looking for. There's also, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, more or less, give or take, watercolor tutorials on this platform from various YouTubers. And I don't want to just keep feeding the content machine, because that's what's working in the algorithm for my channel. Because if you haven't noticed, or I'll just call out right now, these videos, these Clarence Chronicle videos, do not get pushed out into people's feeds. AKA the algorithm is still either warming up to this type of content with my channel, or it just is going to be stuck because it's not like what it's used to or what I've been posting for the last 5 years. And so algorithms are really finicky like that. But I don't care. This is what is lighting me up, and is what I'm working on currently, and I'm super passionate about. And also, I've mentioned this before in these videos, but my husband, who was doing all the video for my YouTube channel, my Patreon, all that kind of stuff, he's no longer doing that. He's a full-time author now and working on building his business and all of that. And I obviously don't want to take up any of his precious office time, because we spend the majority of our days with our son and with our family, so that we can look back on our life with gratitude and peace, and knowing that we spent our time well, or the best that we could. Obviously it can't be perfect. So anyway, I don't want to just like do something because it works. And it's been working. It needs to be aligned, is what I'm getting to. It needs to be aligned, and it needs to be aligned for everybody. And so we are videoing these, just me, and it's with my phone instead of a fancy camera like it used to be. I still have our fancy lights, but I don't know how. And they're so heavy. So I know that I could probably like move one over here and then this other one over there, and you wouldn't see the glare behind me, but they're so heavy. And what if I get it over there and it doesn't actually work, and it casts like crazy, crazy shadows on me, and then I just have to move it again? So anyway, these are my debacles, but they're minor debacles, and we are just going to be doing these videos from the heart, and it doesn't matter what the quality is like, at least to me, and that's all that matters. So anyway, what was I even talking about? Oh, you're new here. Hi, I'm writing and illustrating a children's book. The main character of the children's book's name is Clarence, and he's cute. Where is he? There he is. He's cute. And I was doing this illustration, the flower, last week's video. So you got to see it in real time, me painting that flower. I added the oil pastel. I don't like it. So I'm going to have to redo it, which is fine. I can paint flowers. I can probably paint flowers in my sleep, to be honest. As you would know if you've watched any of my other videos or follow me on socials. So that was finished, but I'm going to do it again, probably like 3 or 4 times. Some things take me at least 5, 6, 7 times of redos. I redid the crow that's in the story, this guy, 50 times, or maybe it was more than that. I can't remember now. Anyway, I did them a lot. And then there's this scene that I did that I didn't show in last week's video, that I just did a very loose watercolor like sketch of, to just get an idea down. And then once I have the idea down, I critique it. I give it a little like art critique thing. And I, from there, know what changes to make, what improvements to do, or what to leave out, what to add, all that kind of stuff. And so this is the illustration that was like the sketch of an idea. It's Clarence on this little hilly thing with flowers, and there's going to be the tree, but the tree is going to go from bare to full of leaves, is going to be on the edge of that hill, the top hill. And, there's those little wildflowers. The tree is going to go right there. So there's like, flowers and wildflowers and stuff. And he is in this sketch. He's like, it looks like he's like holding on to some piece of pink fabric. I don't want it to look like that. I want it to still go over the hilltop like that. But the idea that I'm trying to convey, because it's tied to what is being said in the story, is that he is painting the world around him. Or like the color is coming out of him when he's expressing these certain emotions. So I don't want it to feel like a ribbon or a piece of fabric. I want it to feel like a brush stroke, maybe, probably. So it's going to, instead of being, so here's part of the critique, instead of being those crisp edges, like it's a piece of fabric, it needs to be dry brush on the edges. It needs to be more like loose and blobby and not precise, so that it feels more like he's painting. I do like the dry brush texture, brush texture that you see at the bottom of the hills, because again, I want it to feel like he painted it, or he created the scene that we're looking at. The crow's got to fit in there somewhere. He's probably going to be on the tree branch. I'm probably going to need to paint it horizontal next time because I was running out of, I want more space on the side of the hill for Clarence, going more this way. And I obviously ran out of room. But that's the blue cloud or the blue sky at the top is what he paints like 4 or 5 pages prior to that. I showed that in a couple videos back, along with the anger illustration and the happiness illustration. And then this one is the pink one with the flower is the final one before we see what it looks like all together. So it's going to look like that somewhat. There's going to be changes. I want the flowers to feel, I guess I like them okay, but I don't want it to feel so dense down in the bottom area. And I want them to feel more incorporated with the green so that it has more of like a pointillism feel, you know? By the way, all of this stuff that I'm calling out about the critiques and how I'm going to improve it for next time, all of these are broken down into the 9 elements of style inside my course, The Art Within. So I take you through every single shape, line weight, shading, composition, all the things, color combinations, color theory. Take you through all the things to check through and to ask yourself as you are creating something of your own, that's like in your own style, because it takes work. You need to like go back to the drawing board a few times with these 9 elements of style in mind to know how you can improve it, to make it more your own thing and just to make it more awesome. So anyway, if you are interested in learning how to develop your style as an artist, the course is called The Art Within. I'll link to it in this video. And it is perfect for the artist of any medium who is looking to develop their style and just learning all the ways to elevate their artwork. Anyway, so that's my update for this week. I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet, I think, for this Clarence Chronicles episode. We dove into this pivot. We talked about, where I'm at with my illustrations that I did this week and the improvements that I'm going to be making. Also, this shadow is way off. It needs to go behind, like down, not across, not at a 90-degree angle. The shadow needs to be at, what is the upside down numbers? 180, but like in between 90. Wait. I'm like in real time actively searching through my high school files of when I learned geometry. And if I can find the lesson on, this is simple. This is really simple. Okay, this is to 90 degrees. This is to 180. This is to another 90 plus that, which is, I can't do that math in my head anymore. 35 and a half, baby. It's when it happens, youngins. Wait, 9, I can do this. Dude, I used to be really good at math. My dad's a mathematician, by the way. He's like, he can do crazy math problems in his head and estimations and things. He's just numbers math whiz. So it's in there. I know it is. 180 plus 90. Dude, this is easy. I know it is. 270. Really? Is that it? Yes, that's it. I just needed to give myself focus. That's all. All right. 270, but more like 245 is where I want the shadow to land. Is that? Yeah. I don't know. Someone in the comments will fact check me on that, I'm sure. But you get the point. I don't want it to be at a 90-degree angle. I want it to be sloped down the hill to show like the sun is right in front of Clarence and he's like this shadow is really long and dragged out behind him going down the hill. That's what I'm trying to say. That's a much easier way to say it, by the way, too. So, but here we are. Okay, well, that was fun for me. I don't know how it was for you. Hopefully it was fun. Rachel, also my video editor. Hopefully you had fun editing this one, or it made sense. Hopefully it made sense. And hopefully I remember to link all of the things that I said, which I think I only said the art within. I'm going to go now because I have to eat before my workout. I did remember. Okay, bye.